Welcome to Just Say Okay podcast, where we are learning to be planted while walking on water. Now here's your host, Yolanda Morgan. Hey y'all, welcome to another exciting episode of Just Say Okay podcast, the video podcast. I'm your host, Yolanda Morgan, and if this is your first time tuning in, go ahead on and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, go do that. Okay, so y'all, we just finished up with the Olympics. USA, America, all of it. We done went out there and showed that. And I don't know, I'm really proud of our boys and girls. They went out there and did their thing. And just being able to experience it, like, it was so fascinating to me. I was talking to my mom about it, how, like, when it comes to the Olympics, how, like, she had her generation growing up and how she can look back on it now, them showing old clips and stuff of the Olympics and stuff like that and the achievement people have made. And it's just like, wow, I'm living in that moment. I'm gonna be able to, like, tell my kids about, oh, I got to witness, like, Noah Lyles, Sha'Carri Richardson, and all the other, like, great runners and, like, track and field stars, as well as the other Olympic sports like Coco Golf, even though, yeah. But yeah, I was able to witness it, and just thinking about, like, when they be like, oh, you're witnessing history and actually experiencing it full time, it's just like, wow, I'm witnessing this and I'm able to see it in real time. I don't know. It's just something about it that just had me like, oh my God, wow, I feel special. But yeah, like I said, we went out there and showed that. Shout out to Team USA, the men's basketball, women's basketball, like the whole nine. Like, y'all, we did our big one over there in Paris. So yeah. Okay, so, like, thinking about the Olympics, and, like, where I've been at this week, as far as my walk and my journey, with God, He's had me, focusing in on Elijah. And if you know who Elijah is, Elijah was one of, God's, like, called prophets, who was able to do a lot of great work. And the thing that I was highlighting, or that he had me highlighting, was actually specifically the time period where he had just made, like, a big blow and really defeated Jezebel and King Ahab, where he pretty much killed, like, 400 plus false prophets, the false prophets of Baal, or I think that's how you pronounce it, Baal. But yeah, he had just killed them, and it was one of those things where it's like, oh my God. But that wasn't even the thing. The thing was the fact that Elijah actually went on a run after he had already defeated the enemy. And then I just started thinking about, she's a runner, she's a track star. She gonna fall in love with me. She gonna run away when it gets hard. Elijah ran away when it got hard. That woman sent that threat. He had just, and that what gets me is the fact that he had just killed all of those people, and was able to show that God is who He says He is. So, you would think he would be on a high and going strong, and, like, wouldn't nobody be able to tell him nothing. But she sent the thread and was like, I kill you, basically. And he just was like, you know what? This too much. I got to go. And he took off. And when I like think about so many instances in the Bible, because it's a lot of instances of like track stars in the Bible, like Elijah was number one of them. David, he was another one. It's in there. You just got to go back and read it. But he went on a run a couple of times. He was running from Saul. He was running from his son. He was running from a lot of different people. But he was a fighter too. So don't let me. But yeah, so those two specifically, you got Moses. When Moses committed that murder, he ran away. So it's just a lot of, like I said, track stars in the Bible, whether you pay attention to it or not. And it really just like got me to thinking, and like God just really, really started speaking to me about it, like how it is when we are called by Him and we just take it upon ourselves to run, thinking that's gonna like really get us somewhere. And just thinking about the fact that like some of us spend our entire lives running. Um, and it's just, I don't know. It's so sad to me because it's like literally God be done called you for a specific thing, and all you have come to do is run away from it. Just keep running, just keep going and moving. You can't never get like full rest. You can't never fully be at peace because you're running from the thing that God has called you to. The title of this message is, Are you a track star? Are you a runner? Are you a track star? Are you a runner? Are you a track star? Y'all be running. I done had my instances of running too. Don't get me wrong. And some of the things I still be running. In some cases, I still definitely do be running. And I'm working on that. But I'm inviting you all to work on that as well. Like I said, just thinking about the story of Elijah, like I said, in that instance, he ran away. And what ended up happening was he ended up coming to like this little, I guess like a brook. I don't know what to call it, like a river. This little area, and he stopped, and he was just like, God, just take me now. Essentially, he said, God, I want to die. Because he was just so overwhelmed when it came to like carrying out the will of God, and like her like threatening him and all of this, that, and the other, the people revolting against what he's saying and trying to show to the different people and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, I can't do this no more. I'm tired. And how many of us have come to like those moments where we just like, God, this too much. I can't handle it no more. I'm tired. Like, I know you called me to this, and I know you designed me to do these different things, but I just ain't got it in me. Like, I'm tired. I can't do it. I feel like all of us have come to a point, some point where we've said those exact words. Like, I ain't got it. I'm tired. And in a lot of instances, it's like one of those things where because we're tired, the actions that we take, those are the things that like become the fruit of the tiredness and the all of that. And one of the things that I was thinking about, like when it came to it, is like how one of the ways that, okay, well, in this case with Elijah, he laid down and went to sleep. He was like, Lord, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm going to sleep. And I 100% identify with that. I will take a nap in a heartbeat. This too much. Let me lay down and take a nap. It'll be all right when I wake up. And a lot of times it do be. But It just when you get in the pattern and the habit, and it's just like one of those things. Like I said, the fact that Elijah literally had already defeated Jezebel. He ain't even had no reason to run for real. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, and probably so. Fear just got the best of him, and that's something that the devil will do. Put that little fear in you, give you that little tiny drop of fear, and it's like, dang. That's all it be taking sometimes. And he put that little tiny drop in there, and now you find yourself somewhere like Elijah, running from something that you had already defeated. He had literally had already defeated Jezebel. It was just the act of like you standing. If he would have just went on and stood firm and not went anywhere and just left it at that, God would have handled the rest, because he was obedient. He did what he was supposed to do. But that one little threat that she made was just like, okay, now this too much. I know for myself, like one of my own personal like experiences when it comes to like having it up to here, like just being so tired, you just want to throw in the towel. Like I think about often, during my college years, like me and my friends, we were actually sitting in the living room and we were on our computers like taking an exam, and it was a long exam, and it was one of those things where like low key, I want to say it was one of those times where like you ain't have that many assignments, so if you fail this exam, that's it. You done failed. And you have to figure it out next time. But like it's one of those things. We sitting there in the living room taking the test, and I don't know, just something made me just, I don't know. I was stressed, I was tired, and I just yelled out, "I'm a donkey on the edge." And if you know the reference, you know the reference. A good old Shrek reference. But I literally yelled out, "I'm a donkey on the edge." And that's what I felt like. Literally sitting there like stressed out, tired. I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. And I want to say it was when we was in nursing. I could be lying, but I think it's when I was in nursing. That was one of the most stressful times in my life. Like the nursing program, or nursing programs in general, are nothing to play with, y'all. Absolutely horrible. But either way, yeah. And I just think about, like I said, times like that where you just literally had it up here. It's enough. I'm tired now. And yeah, like I said, God will come through and give you that wonderful rest that you asking for. So Elijah just like, this too much. And he like that fade away. You know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. That little fade away. But yeah. He was just like, it's too much, and he went on about his business, I guess. But I just thinking it's amazing, because if you read on, God, I love the fact that God always acknowledges when you're tired. He is one of those things where it's not like he just gonna keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. No, he be like, okay, well, since you tired, let me let you rest a little bit. And he let Elijah rest. Like Elijah laid down and took his little nap. And even during that time of like, you done ran away from something that I called you to, it's like the grace that he has for us when we, it's one of those things like we don't even deserve it for real. Like, not for real. Like he had already called him to it. He delivered the victory into his hand, and he ran away before he could see it come full circle. So it's kind of like, I don't even know what to call that. I don't know. But the fact that God will allow us to have these experiences or whatnot, and just be so gracious enough to be like, you know what, you're human. I get it. I made you. I know how you are. And He allows us to take rest when we are overwhelmed, but taking rest in Him. And all during the time and during this season, He still was providing for. He didn't tell him to go there. He didn't tell him to go into the woods and the wilderness and disappear and all that. He didn't tell him to do that. Elijah made that decision for himself, but He still provided for him while he was there, and acknowledged, like, I know you're tired, but okay. So pretty much what he did, and this is in 1 Kings 19, by the way. He actually ended up sending a bird to deliver some food and some water for him to eat, to have sustenance. And then after he ate it, he went back to sleep. So God said, okay, you could take you a little bit more rest. And then he woke back up. God said, here you go. Here's more food and water, because this is the food and water that you're going to need to sustain you while you go on this journey. Because you are going to have to go back to where you came from. So he gave him some more food. And then he was like, okay, now get up and you go. And it's so beautiful, like I said, because even though we running away, and even though we run away from God, a lot of times He not going to run away from us. He don't leave us alone. A lot of the times, like, if God has called you to something or has a calling on your life, a lot of time that calling ain't going nowhere till you go somewhere. When you in the grave, that's when that calling is over with. So it's like one of those things where I think about, like my dad, for instance. Like, so many people would tell me about how, and family members really, how my great granddad had pretty much was like prophesied and said, like, oh, like what the individual grandchildren were gonna be doing, and like the different callings on their lives. And they said for my dad, he had the calling to be a preacher. And it's like one of those things where it's like, if you meet him or would have met him, rest in peace to my daddy, I miss him so much. But if you would have met him, you would have been able to see how he attracted people, how people listened to him, and how, like, people, I don't know, they paid attention to him. He just had that thing about him, but it was one of those things where it was his calling. But for my dad, he was just like, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I get that, like, he gave it a gift and all that good stuff, but he just couldn't get over the fear of, like, being up in front of people and, like, really talking in front of people, because he was too in his head about like what people thought. He don't be and I don't know why, because if you know him, you'll be like, he really act like he ain't really care about nothing. But he was like, when it came to that, it was just like he was just scared to be up in front of people on that type of thing. And it's just like, wow. And like I said, it's just unfortunate, because it's like he's not here anymore. But like I said, I have to believe that God, if you're called, you're called. So no matter how far you run, you can always come back to God if you are feeling like, okay, I'm ready to pick up my mantle. I'm ready to be the person that you called me to be. I'm ready to do the thing that you called me to do. God is always right there. And He claps when His children turn back to Him and say, hey, God, I need you. I want you. I gotta have you. Let's do this thing. And he'll go full steam ahead. And that's why you have so many different testimonies from people who have had like some like traumatic past and like have done the different things and like stuff that may not be the most savory thing, like how you even down to like the disciples in the Bible, like the different people in their backgrounds, like the different people that God chose to use, a lot of them came from like not so savory backgrounds or had a history of doing different things that wasn't exactly what religious people would refer to as like holy, I guess. Um, and God turned that thing around because like, who are you to say that they can't be who I called them to be? That's who I'm gonna use. And a lot of times you see that. A lot of times God do use individuals with who had like some, like I said, traumatic past, or a history of doing different things. So I don't know. It's one of those really fascinating things to me where it's just like, oh, dang, you can do this if you want to. You don't have to keep running. I always like to, like I said, be pretty practical, because I like application type stuff. So some of the things that I think about when it comes to like the running thing, like what you running from, and where do you think realistically you can run that God can't find you? Cause it ain't nowhere I can think of that you can go that God can't find you. So you can run just like freaking Jonah got swallowed up by a whale. You on this ship in the middle of the sea and you thinking like, oh, I'm getting away, all this good stuff. He said, let me show you something real quick. Swallowed him right on up. So I don't know. Like I said, I like to be practical when it comes to these different things, and it's like application wise, like I said, one of the things that I know to do is number one, repent, and number two, like tell God how you're feeling. Actually express to him like what you're going through, where your mind's at, and how you're feeling. Confess to him like, God, this is where I'm at. If you upset, you could be upset. Explain that you upset. Explain what you're upset about. And sometimes he'll be like, okay, well, I hear you. Well, let's try this. And sometimes he might be like, I get that you're upset, but that's part of the process, and you're going to have to go through it anyway. I've been getting a lot of that. Been getting a lot of that. But, yeah. But, like I said, it's I feel like people have this thought process that they can't say what they really want to say to God. Just say it. Get it out there. Get it out of you. And he'll show you what you need to do. You just got to be open to what he's trying to tell you and what he's trying to show you, because a lot of times it don't come in the way that you may want it to come in. And sometimes it comes exactly how you want it to come. So you just got to be open to the way that he's going to tell you, or reveal to you what it is that he wants you to know. So like I said, that's one of the practical ways to me, that you like some of the steps basically. And I know people have like their different reasonings on why they choose to run away and choose not to like turn back to God and all that good stuff. I know one of the number one things is like fear that you've gone too far to turn back. And I'm here to tell you, you're never too far. for God to pull you back. So if you feel like, hey, I done went out here and did this, I done tried this and all this, that, and the other, like, especially um like one of the examples is like, if you've been out here doing like the new age spirituality type thing, that thing can lead you down some rabbit holes. And for some people, they like, oh well, I'm already over in it, so can't go back now. Cause what are you gonna say, God? A lot of time, God treat us like that prodigal son, arms wide open, welcoming you back. Thank you for getting it together and coming on back. But yeah, so that's one of the number one reasons. And like I said, I don't believe that's something that should stop anybody from turning back, because God is very forgiving, believe it or not. Another thing is like pride, because a lot of times people think that they know more than God about their situation. And I'm here to tell you, no, you don't. He created you. You don't know more. Another reason could be control. Control is a real tough one. My fear is that, like, if I give up this control or this false sense of control, because you really don't have too much control anyway, but if I give this up, you're not going to do exactly what I want you to do, God. Therefore, I'm not coming over there to you. I'm not turning back to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm going to keep running. Which is unfortunate, but like I said, quickly you learn that you don't have no control anyway. The further you get into it, you learn that you don't have any control anyway. And it's one of those things where, like, you let in something or someone control you. I would rather it be God. That just be. I would rather it be him than food, than the man I'm dating, than my job. But that's just me. But yeah, so another thing I do want to say is, like, it takes baby steps. Like, it's nothing wrong with baby steps, I should say. For some people, you can throw yourself into it cold turkey and it go exactly how you needed to go. But some people, it may take a couple of steps. It may not be I'm 2 feet in. Might have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Might have 1 foot in, dragging the other one behind, but it's getting there. And just come back. It'll be good if you can, like, just come on back. Cold turkey. Take your time. Talk to God. Go through the steps that you need to go through and make that thing happen. That's pretty much it. That's all I got. Yeah. What I'm saying okay to this week. Continuing to move forward. Continuing to embrace the Lord and where he has me at and the journey that he has me on. Continuing to be consistent. And continuing to grow. That's another big thing. Like, just continue to be out there. But other than that, what are y'all saying okay to this week? And are y'all gonna start running? Are y'all done being track stars? Cause I don't think y'all get no. I don't think y'all gonna get no Olympic medal at the end of that run. To be quite honest, let God be your Olympic medal. But yeah, go out there, just say okay, be blessed, and have a good one. Well, look at you staying the whole time. Thank you for tuning in to Just Say Okay podcast. If you would like to reach me, you can follow me on Instagram at justsayokaypod_, or you can email me at okgodpod@gmail.com. And as I said before, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Just say okay, y'all. Have a good one.